Hey everybody, welcome to the other side of the homestead. We're in the kitchen and I said that I would bring you the French onion casserole. So casseroles are becoming a big hit, especially now that the economy is getting the way it is and all of that. We're just trying to figure out how to make food stretch. So I'm going to bring you along with me. We're going to do this. Now, this is going to be a special occasion recipe depending on what you do, income, that kind of thing, what you're raising and all of that. So let's start with a few ingredients. You guys grab those and then come along with me. All right, so the first thing you're gonna need is 10 ounces of Gruyere cheese. So just get that, shred it down, get that going, set it aside. Then you're gonna need a half cup of shredded Parm and so Parmesan, and then you're gonna go back, set it aside. Then you're going to need 13 ounces of French baguette, and you're going to need that for a 9x13 pan. And then you're going to need half a teaspoon of Redmond salt. You're going to need a tablespoon of thyme. You're going to need, excuse me, yeah. You're going to need a tablespoon of thyme. You're going to need 2 tablespoons of flour. AP is fine. You're just gonna thicken the sauce with it a little bit. And you're going to need, let's do this real quick. You're going to need mushrooms. These are baby portobello. Baby portobello was the only way that I could keep the price point down. Otherwise, we were close to $45, $50. So, including tax and all of that. So, I don't think that's a good way to go right now. But if you wanted to treat yourself later and the extra 10 bucks, I mean, go for it. So, then you're going to need chicken. So 2 cups. This is probably about 2.5 actually. But I just, for convenience and all of that, I just did a rotisserie chicken and then broke that down. You want it skinned. Make sure that the chicken is done. The really good one is the thigh meat. And so I take that, put that into a skillet, and I fry that up and then turn it, get it to 165, and then set it aside. Let it cool down, debone it. By the time I'm done with the rest of the casserole, I can usually get it in and it's not a big deal. So you'll do that. Then you're going to want 5 tablespoons of butter. We'll cut that down and figure all that out. Then you're going to want 5 onions. Now I had to let my iPad charge. These are fresh, I promise. I cut them a couple hours ago. But so you want thin sliced onions. You want 5 of those, 5 medium. Then you're going to want 3 cups of beef broth. Make sure you have all that on hand. And then you're going to take half a cup of, I use Chardonnay. You want a dry wine. Chardonnay is a little bit sweeter, so it works perfect in this recipe. So, all right, guys, if you're interested, come along with me. First of all, if you like this content and you like the recipes and that kind of thing, make sure you subscribe, do notification, that kind of thing. Hit that thumbs up button. So, let's get started. I'll take you over by the stove. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take 1 tablespoon of butter, and we are going to get that into the skillet. Get that on in there. You want to get it all because you have to take care of those mushrooms. I'm just going to discard over here for right now. Then turn up that heat. You want to get it on high and then make sure the pan heats up, get that butter melted, and we'll put everything in there. So what we're going to start with is the mushrooms. And what we're looking to do is we are going to toast the mushrooms. So we're putting our mushrooms in the skillet. We've got the butter melted. We're going to make sure that they're all flat. Now, these are going to stay for 2 to 3 minutes. So we're going to set that timer. My skillet is larger. I like to do a 1 dish. So this skillet is much larger. I think it's a 14, 16 inch, something like that. And I found this at Cockrell Mercantile, which is in Missouri. So there's 2 locations there. You can look that up, and I'm sure they probably sell them somewhere else too. So what we're going to do is we're just browning them. We're going to let them sit 2 to 3 minutes. Then we're going to stir them and make sure everything gets browned all over. So as soon as I'm done with that, this is probably going to take 6-7 minutes at the most. So as soon as I get done with that, I'll bring you back, and then we can look at what happens, okay? Okay, so now we're ready to go. We're gonna go ahead and check these, see where we're at. Come on. Yeah, so we're gonna stir them. See how they're shrinking a little bit? So they're shrinking a little bit, and that lets me know that they're toasting. So I've got them. Kind of like you're sweating them out, but you're gonna make sure that you brown them. There's a lot of that in this video, so make sure you pay attention to that. Now, what is suggested is cremini mushrooms for this one. So when you use the portobello mushrooms, it keeps the cost down a little bit so that you don't have to go and search and find the cremini mushrooms. The baby portobello actually holds a lot of flavor, so you're not missing out like you would per se if you try to substitute that with the white button mushrooms. So baby portobello is actually a good backup. It's going to be a lot cheaper for you. I would not get the pre-cut ones because, like I said, you want to make sure that these are sliced the way you need them for the recipe. So do not spend the money on that convenience. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to transfer these mushrooms, leaving the heat on. I'm going to transfer these mushrooms over to a plate. I'm going to finish here and transfer over the rest of the mushrooms. We've got that done. Now, the other 4 tablespoons of butter we're going to add in the dish. Okay, let's do that real quick. Now we're gonna roast the onions, and I use the yellow sweet onions, and the yellow sweet onions actually help add to the flavor of the casserole. So I suggest that. I wouldn't go as far as Vidalia. Again, if you go Vidalia, because you need 5 onions, remember, if you go Vidalia, you're gonna pay a little bit more money. But right now, the onions go in here. Okay, so what you're going to do as you're doing this is about a 25-minute process. So you're going to do this, and you just want to make sure that you're flipping. The idea is, see if you guys can see that one in there. See the golden brown in there? That's what you want. You want that on all of the onions. So that's going to take about 25 minutes. I will be right back. I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so now you can see we've got the onions golden and they're doing their thing. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to add, this is going to be a pretty quick process, so I apologize for that. Then you add the mushrooms in there. Get all that done. Set that plate back to the side. And then this is where your 2 tablespoons of flour come in. So you're going to take your 2 tablespoons of flour, you're going to throw that on in there. And then what you want to do is you want to stir it to try to get the vegetables as evenly coated as you possibly can. So just stir that on around. Now this is going to go into a 9 by 13 pan. It needs to hold at least 3 quarts. And if you misjudge your onion or your slicing or anything like that, you want to make sure it's a tall dish. Okay. So now what we're going to do is I am going to turn my fire down and I'm going to take it to a low, middle simmer, and I'm going to let this toast. So you want to leave this about 2-3 minutes and then we'll add the rest of the stuff. So all right, so now I've let this toast a little bit, and so now what we're going to do is we're going to add our 1/2 cup of dry white wine. Again, I use the Chardonnay. It's a little sweeter. It complements the dish. I just think it's a really great dish with Chardonnay. There were a few of us that talked about it, and that's what we all decided. So, well, looks like I spilled some of the white wine. So we're going to add 1/2 cup of the white wine in there. Okay, we're going to turn our heat back up. And what we want to do is we want to stir, get that wine in there and start getting it to pick up that flour. So get that on in there. You're going to bring it to a boil to get it to a simmer. This is going to happen a couple times. So just bring it to, just bring it to a simmer. So let's see where we're at. Yeah, we're at a simmer. Okay. So I can do that. Now I'm going to add 3 cups of beef broth. Okay, there's 1 cup. There's 2 cups. Let's get that on in there. And again, we're going to bring it up to a boil, take it back down to a simmer. Okay, so now that I have it at a boil and I'm getting ready to take it down to a simmer, here's what I'm going to add. You want a 1/4 teaspoon of Redmond salt. You want a tablespoon of thyme. Well, here. And then you'll do some pepper. I like about a teaspoon. Okay. And now you want to add the chicken. So this is our mixture. This is our filling right here. So you want to stir that real well. Oh, shoot. All right, so I'm gonna have to leave this at a boil real quick and get it heated up again. It has to be at a boil before you can do that. And my chicken was just a little bit too cold. So just gonna take a few minutes and we'll be right back. Not a big deal. All right, so here we are, and it actually didn't even take a few minutes. It was just like 1.5. So we're back up to the boil, and I'm just gonna go ahead and set it on a simmer. I'm gonna do it on a high simmer. And what we want is we want for this to thicken up. So I'll show you guys what that looks like. This is gonna take about 6-7 minutes, somewhere in there. So we'll get this done, and then I'll come show you what the consistency should be, and then how that should look. You're gonna like this, I'm telling you, it's great. Just to, like, again. Okay, so I wanna show you this and hopefully you can capture it. I'll take a picture with my phone and send that over to G. So as you can see, the components are coming together and it is going ahead and making it thicker. One thing that you wanna make sure that you're careful on here, don't get it too thick, because you have 13 ounces of baguette in there. So don't forget that. You want it to submerge, and if you don't have enough fluid, you're not going to get that to submerge. So keep that in mind. I'm gonna go ahead, get everything ready, and I'll show you the next process. Okay, we're almost done. Super easy recipe. Okay, so now we're gonna put the pan together. So we've got everything ready. I'm gonna go ahead, just excuse me. I'm gonna go ahead and turn that the stove top off, and then we want to put about just enough to cover the bottom of the pan. So bear with me and I'll show you a little bit. Whew. This is an 8-ounce spoon that I'm using. Some of that liquid out of there. Okay, I think we got it. All right, I'm going to take you over to the front where you can see better. So this will be about a 2-step process, no big deal. So got that done. I'll be right back with you. All right, so you saw me. I went ahead and I spooned in, I don't know, about 2.5, 3 cups or so in there. Just enough to cover the bottom. You guys see that it's not very deep. So then what you're gonna do, you have your baguette. So you are going to lay your baguette down on top of that. It's time to get the casserole made. Again, you cut these 1/2 inch thick. Try not to do no bigger, no smaller. You'll have issues. It's not gonna spread very far if you do that, so. So as I go, I'm just trying to press down in the pan. She's been coming around eating baguettes while I wasn't looking. All right, so get everything down. Use your ladle. If you have gloves, use your glove, no big deal. So get that down. And then we're gonna add another second onto this of the recipe. So what you want in the pan, you want half, okay? So half the baguettes and half the pan. So we'll go from this way. You just pour that on. Just gonna layer it on. And again, pressing with the ladle, make sure it gets submerged. You want that moisture to kind of come out of there, and that's what you're doing in a way. You're kind of helping it. So it is meant to make the bread a bit soggy. So then you're gonna go ahead, remember we did the shredded smoked Gouda. Smoked Gouda is a little cheaper, I don't know, I think by $1 per 6 ounce, something like that. It's a little cheaper. And so that was one way I could also cut this cost down. So you just want to take half of that smoked Gouda. You're just going to sprinkle it on. This quickly became one of Garen and I's favorite recipes. This is delicious, but that's why I have no problem making them ahead. But because it takes a little bit. It takes a lot of prep, and just to get everything done does take a little bit. I'd say you need to make sure, depending on how you cut that kind of thing, you need to make sure that you've got a good, I don't know, 30 minutes at the minimum to prep. So that's what I'm saying again. It's just kind of a special occasion recipe. So then we have our 1/2 cup of grated parm. And what we're gonna do is we're also going to cut that in half. If it helps you, go ahead and separate these. And so you wanna make sure that your Parmesan is 1/4 cup to 1/4 cup. And you're going to want to make sure that your smoked Gouda is 1 cup to 1 cup. So, okay. So now we've got that layer on. So we put those cheeses on. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna add more baguettes. eating baguettes, dang it. All right, so I'm gonna have to get creative here. And maybe not. It's 4th of July here, so it could just be the environment. Okay, so now we have everything in there. Got our 13 ounces of baguettes and that kind of thing. So all of that's there. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and pour the other half of what was left from the mixture. And we're gonna go ahead and pour that on top. Repeat the process. Okay, let's do it. It's the amount of chicken. 2 cups of chicken is better if you're trying to get everything in and utilize it the best way you can. I just didn't want the leftover chicken, if that makes sense, because it was just like one little breast on there. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take the rest of the cheese and we're going to repeat. All right, I think we've got that pretty good. So now we're gonna take the Parmesan, repeat what we did the first time. All right, so all of that is done. It's gonna be a beautiful casserole. You can see it now. Now we have to do something very special. See the level of all of the cheese and everything else? So what we need to do is we need to tent. Foil, because you're going to need a cover for the first 20 minutes. So we're preheating the oven now, trying to get that to 425 degrees. You're going to cook this for 20 minutes covered, loosely tinted with foil, and then take that cover off in 20 minutes and leave it for another 10 and until it's golden brown and you see all the cheese is melted. It's fantastic. You guys, you're going to love this, I promise. So let me grab that foil and I'll come right back. Okay, so this is actually a dish that is going out to one of my clients that I private chef for. And I am going to, so that's why I'm using the style pan I am now. Use a regular dish casserole if you're doing it in your kitchen. So when I tent, what I do with these, I just turn them in a little bit and then lay them on very lightly so they're sitting on the rim. And you can see it's not sealed, it's just sitting on there. And then I can remove that after 20 minutes, let it go for another 10, and it's gonna be completely browned and beautiful. So as soon as that happens, I'll come back and I'll show you exactly what it looks like. You guys, I'm telling you, this is delish. So what we're gonna do right now, we're gonna turn this timer off, and then we're gonna pull out the casserole, pull off the lid. We'll just set the lid on top of the stove, no big deal. Now we want this to brown. So we're gonna set the timer again for 15 minutes and you wanna check it at 10. All right, let's take it out of the oven. It's been 35 minutes. This is the consistency that you're looking for. I'm gonna move you guys over to the island. Just give me a second. Hey everybody, sorry. We have to kind of do the end of this video over again, so it didn't download. So I wanted to show you, and we have this casserole because I did freeze it. And so this is what the turnout. Now this one's frozen, so all you would need to do is put the lid back on it and then throw it in the oven 375 degrees until it was warm through. So about 15-20 minutes. So anyway, if you like this kind of content and you like what we're doing here, I want you guys to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, share the video, and come on and enjoy the ride with us. Okay, until next time, go live a life done free.
Thanks, Milo.